Good morning. It is May 30th, 2025, and I know in the northern part of the state we finally started to see a little bit of a drying of conditions and a slight warming of conditions, though I did see nighttime temperatures this weekend to be somewhere close to 40 degrees. I know further south that's not something that's after happening, and we are getting close to the 100-day stretch or the 100-day battle for many of the golf course superintendents. As Dr. Danneberger likes to say, your grandmother could go grass until the 1st of June. After that, it's time for the professionals to take over. Online today, we've got Dr. Tyler Carr, Dr. David Shetlar, and a guest visitor, Mr. Ryan Margraf, the president of the Ohio Turfgrass Foundation. Mr. Margraf has an update on OTF activities. Ryan, take it away.
Well, thank you very much, Dr. Nagel. First, it's an honor to be a guest on here to the famous Turf Team Times. Apologies there. Thanks for giving me this opportunity to join you today. I'm just thinking, I was reflecting on the fact that I've had a lot of great memories working with a number of those individuals that make up the Turf Times team. So, like Dr. Street, Dr. Dannenberger, Dr. Gardner, yourself, Dr. Nagel, Mr. Hicks, the bug doctor there, yes, as well. So it's just been, it's kind of come full circle since I've had the opportunity to be in the setting seat of the president with the Turfgrass Foundation and get to see everything on the other side of it. So it's been cool. I have had the great privilege of serving the board since 2020. Got to build a lot of great relationships with fellow board members over that time. And each year we've kind of taken on new initiatives that have been impactful to the turfgrass industry. So it's been great to see that as well. So really rewarding, and just wanted to come on here and give a update. Some may have heard some rumblings of some changes that the Ohio Turfgrass Foundation was undertaking, and I just wanted to come and give you an update on that. So um, as part of the organization, we've been focused on supporting the membership through, a lot of unique challenges over those years that I've been on the board, from COVID to, getting our membership protected as being essential workers during that time, the establishment of the Scarlet and Gray Foundation to help increase scholarships to students that are interested in the turfgrass industry at Ohio State. And then also kind of paired up with that COVID time, we increased a bit and have continued the advocacy and outreach through our lobbyist group, the Batchelder group, to help protect against the some that may be challenging the industry and not seeing the benefit that everybody does provide here for a great number of those in the great state of Ohio. So I say all this because it's been a substantial inspiration since I've been on the board to see those efforts that have been undertaken by OTF. And I think some of them may go unseen and be flying under the radar, but I'm proud to be a part of a great group of individuals since 2020. Um, as I stepped into the president's role, and there were some conversations ahead of this around, the next step is we've done great with advocacy. We've done a great job of standing up the scholarship piece. The next was getting connected with our partners, our members, also increasing the amount of research that we can fund through, give back to research. So at the end of this past year, we looked at the financials and we said, all right, if we really want to make an impact, we're going to have to make a substantial change here. So we definitely looked amongst ourselves as board members and said, well, the only way to do that is we're going to have to, step into and increase the amount of workload that we take on, and by doing that, also then take on a number of the responsibilities that were in place through Bennett management, because we felt like the only way that we could do make a substantial increase was to dedicate our time more. So we decided at the a couple months ago that we were not going to renew the contract for Bennett management, and we were going to take on that management of the organization within the Ohio Turfgrass Foundation walls, both support from again, the board members, both the executive board and the general trustees that make up the board. It definitely was not a decision that we took lightly by any means, because we were definitely aware of a considerable effort that Bennett had provided. You know, they've done a great job over the years to help us really allow us to focus on some of those other efforts that we had to, and help us through the COVID times. And so we knew that there was a lot of work that they were also doing behind the scenes that we were going to have to really spread out amongst the board members. So we've established some committees, taken some steps there to hand out a number of responsibilities, just to name a few: memberships and partnerships. Education has always been there, and the OSU team's done a great job of continuing to do a great job with the work that they do on building out the education pieces as it relates to OTF's functions. But then also looking at the scholarship and the golf outing, and then again advocacy, some of those. So we've built out committees on each of those. So I'm really excited for the direction. I've attended a number of those committee meetings outside of just our general meetings, and we've got some great momentum. Everybody's excited. Yes, we're well aware that there are going to be some challenges that come with this, and we're going to have some bumps in the road. But I think that's understood. We also identified it as we can increase our connection again with our partners, our membership, get closer to that, along with seeing an opportunity to have some of those funds again be brought back in and used for things that are closer to our mission and our values as a foundation. So you'll hear there'll be more to come. We'll share out more information, but I just wanted to appreciate again giving me this opportunity to come on and mention this, because we wanted to get the message out to those OTF members, so that they weren't kind of still being in the dark a little bit on all of this, but understand that we're doing this all really with a really substantial end goal in seeing more of what we do and the efforts that we take within the industry, the funds that are raised through the efforts of the scholarship outing and others. So I don't want to forget also that as part of that, we did tap Dr. Carr as being our new executive director, because we knew we had to have a solid individual that's done a great job helping us along with the rest of the turf team. But we tapped Dr. Carr and gave him an opportunity to see if he wanted to step up and help us as an executive director on that. So thank you again, Dr. Carr, for that. And I think, again, we've got a lot of good things cooking. I don't want to take up too much time. You guys have a lot of important stuff here, but I wanted to also mention we've got the Ohio Sports Field Managers Association is putting on an event here coming up in June. It's actually June 24th. Please, there's information going out. If you haven't seen it yet, social media, we'll continue to push a lot of that stuff out. Please keep an eye out for that. Please get signed up. I know we have a tendency to want to sign up a little bit last minute. If you want to make a change and sign up earlier, that would be great. We've got one of the highlights of that. There's not going to be a ton of education on it. It's more of a good social interaction piece, but also a lot of those partners and vendors that we've got in the industry are going to be bringing out their equipment so that things can actually be demoed and used, get some hands-on opportunity with those. I think it's going to be of great value to a lot of our members that are going to be able to make it and be in attendance. So I just wanted to throw that out there. Again, it's open. It's being put on by the Ohio Sports Field Managers Association. However, it is definitely, we want to emphasize this, it's open to anybody within the turfgrass industry or adjacent industries that want to get out and see some of these equipment firsthand. There's also going to be a tour by Andrew Northam, the grounds director there at the training facility for the Columbus Crew. Sorry, I didn't get to mention that. It's at their training facility there in Columbus too. So centrally located. I think that's it. Again, thank you very much. Appreciate this and excited about what there is to come. If anybody has any questions, please feel free to reach out, email, or get a hold of one of the board members, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Margraf. Nobody died. Nice job. Dr. Carr.
All right, thank you, Dr. Nangle. So, couple things that I've been seeing over the last week or so. Um, I'm noticing that people have their irrigation systems recharged. So, we've been getting plenty of rain recently. For most of us, irrigation systems probably don't need to be running. Dr. Nangle in the Cleveland area, they probably don't need to be running, right? And Ryan, you're in Cincinnati, probably don't need to be running. I
We're
I
good. Yes.
I'm gonna share my screen here. This is the if you guys have seen me on here in previous years, there's a lot more yellow and red and just death and destruction on this drought monitor. Um, if you are if you are in a area that is white, definitely don't touch your irrigation system until you start to see some visual drought stress symptoms. That's purpling or bluing, graying of leaves. If you drive a mower over those areas, it doesn't bounce back, or you walk on those areas, it does not bounce back. So for now, like let's just save some money on our water bills and not irrigate. Another thing that I want us to think about when it comes to this time of year is if you have tall fescue lawns, the notion has been not to fertilize those during the summer because of risk of brown patch. Now, there have been I'm going to stop share for a second. There's been recent data that's come out from many different universities indicating that more nitrogen during the summer doesn't necessarily increase brown patch. Now, if you apply way too much nitrogen during the summer, you could increase the chance for pythium or gray leaf spot. But if you have a moderate amount of nitrogen for tall fescue, it can help recover from from some of the stresses like brown patch or if we have some drought stress. So keep that in mind. Maybe a low rate of some slow release nitrogen or quick release fertilizer after some stress. The biggest thing that they've seen in some of this research is that genetics play a big role. So it's really important um, to plant more resistant populations or less susceptible populations of tall fescue. So they've even seen that some of the more resistant tall fescue cultivars could provide similar brown patch levels to susceptible populations with fungicide programs. So that's something that can end up saving money and reduce pesticide inputs. Lastly, I visited a facility this week, and they were asking questions about their lawn care company. Um, and the lawn care company soil tested and identified a need for a potassium fertilizer application, which um, I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole on if we actually need to apply certain nutrients at certain times. But the cost was very high for a potassium fertilizer application, and really the trade-off wasn't there. There were no symptoms of potassium deficiency, and even looking at their soil test report, um, the numbers weren't even that low. So what I want to point us to is a document that Dr. Nangle led a couple years ago on how to select a lawn care company. Um, so if you go to our buckeyeturf.osu.edu site, click on Extension and Turf Tips, fact sheets, and we have all these different categories. You go to lawn care and what to look for in a lawn care service. We're not going to go through this whole document, but there are many, many things to consider. And this is just a good document to read if you have a lawn care company that you're subscribing to, or if you're looking for a new lawn care company, just to make sure that you're getting the best product that you possibly can. So, with that, I'm going to stop my share and we can move on to the next guy.
Thank you, Dr. Carr. Now I get yelled at for doing something wrong, but there we go. I see Dr. Shetlar's name was also on that document, so I'll also lay blame on him.
Yep.
Dr. Shetlar, we have an insect.
Tyler, I'm glad you mentioned that. because I've got several comments about our lawn cares. Understand that many of the lawn care companies will try to sell you their standard program. And virtually all of them that I've talked to do have, if you want a low fertilizer program, they have that. If you want a pesticide-free program, they can provide that also. And I mentioned that I'm not against the weed control. I think you probably ought to have, if you're starting a lawn care, you probably will need weed control for the first couple of seasons until your lawn gets thick and dense and the weed pressure kind of disappears anyway. But when it comes to insect control, there's a lot of stuff going around on the internet now that the insecticides are killing everything. And you can have an insecticide-free program if that's what you would prefer. But again, communication, talk with your provider and tell them that you've got those concerns, and they'll usually say, we can write you up for that. That's not a problem. If you don't want insecticide, or if you only want grub control and not the surface insecticide, and it's usually the surface insecticide that causes the biggest death and destruction of the insect world. But even in our studies, when we've done studies with all these insecticides, generally the general insect population is only suppressed for about 4 weeks after that insecticide application. And so it's not a major concern for me, but I know in social media it's a concern to other people and so-called environmentalists. Well, let me get started with the bug report. Where June's coming up next week, and a lot of people that have been using imidacloprid or imidacloprid products, Merit products for their grub control, are probably getting antsy. We've been cool across the state pretty much all of May. And so what that's done is delayed the development of the beetles that will lay eggs that will turn into the grubs, primarily Japanese beetle and mass chafers. I've been running my light trap. I have yet to get either one of those. In my light trap, I usually get mass chafers here in late May and nothing's shown up. I'm still getting some May-June beetles in the light trap, but no mass chafers yet. And what I would suggest for you to do if you're going to use one of the imidacloprid products, wait until we tell you that we've seen some of those beetles. Because the reality is that especially mass chafers will be out for 3 weeks. Japanese beetles will be out for 4 to 6 weeks. During that time, they will lay their eggs in the turf. And it usually takes the eggs about 3 weeks before they hatch. Then the first instar larvae, which are the most susceptible to our grub insecticides, are in the soil for another 3 weeks. So in essence, you've got about a 6 to 8 week window of opportunity that when the beetles first appear to make that grub insecticide application and have the maximum amount of your grub insecticide in that soil thatch interface to kill the little first instar grubs when they start to feed. Now, if you're using the other products, if you're using any of the diamides, things like acelepryn, tetrino, or if you're using clothianidin, Arena, as your neonicotinoid, those do have much longer residual activity. We have no problem with those applications going down in May, but May's gone now. If you didn't get those down in May, they would still be very effective for the grub populations and many of the other insects that would occur if you make that application here in June and early July. Other than that, we're kind of in that bug low area. Everything's just kind of either developing or pupating and getting ready to emerge or something like that. So in about 2 to 3 weeks, all hell will break loose again. And people will be wondering what's going on. How do we take care of this? And we'll talk about some of the rescue treatments if needed at that time. Ed, that's all I've got.
Thank you, Dr. Shetlar. Predictions of all hell breaking loose. Great to hear. One thing, as we're getting to the end of May, and I will put up some PowerPoint next week, people are probably getting towards the end of whether or not they took part in No More May this year. We have completed research work on that over the last 2 or 3 years. Now, our focus was mainly on turf health and the residual effects of returning to mowing. So I'm not going to make any strong life-altering claims as far as pollinators and positive impacts. But the only thing we noticed a slight increase of was lightning bugs in that research across 3 sites. The other thing I will warn homeowners of is if you are planning to use a push mower to get that grass back down the height, you're going to struggle at best. With the amount of growth that most of the state has seen this month because of the rainfall, grass that has not been mown for a month may actually be close to 16 to 18 inches high. And you're going to have to bring somebody in to clean that off with a commercial mower that is not going to recover or be mowable with a standard push mower that mows to a maximum height of about 4 to 5 inches. One thing that was interesting from that, we said generally the industry or the academic side has said more than 1/3 or 1/3 of the leaf tissue being removed can result in death of the turfgrass plant. And that is something that has not really shown up in the research. It's more the physical ability to remove the material has been the noticeable problem. But I will have further data with that next week. One other thing I noticed, I was out at a couple of golf courses yesterday in Northern Ohio. One of the golf courses using the USGA GS3 ball. Now, the USGA has not put me up here on a promotional piece. I'm not getting paid to say anything about this, but I did find it interesting that they were using the data for decision making on some of their agronomic practices. And so the specific instance that happened was superintendents had been using the ball. They had the data from last year also. And they could see that based on the data they had collected, I think on Monday or no, Tuesday, that they had basically, and with the predicted weather forecast, that they could basically roll greens and not mow them on the Wednesday. And he was expecting to get same green speeds, same conditions as he had on Tuesday morning. The point here is, folks, if he or she can make that decision 24 hours in advance, you can allocate people. You also, in the stress of the summer, can potentially do yourselves some benefit, right? In the sense that if you see that the weather conditions over the next 2 to 3 days are on the dry side, maybe not extreme temperatures, and you're going to have some limitation in growth generally because of that summer decline in turf growth, there may be times where you can reduce the mowing frequency, which then reduces stress on your turf. There's multiple ways to do this, but I will say it was the first time that I'd heard the GS3 ball having that type of intuition associated with it. So I'd keep an eye on these things as they come out. That the technology is constantly evolving. They also had the robotic mower at one of their sites, and interestingly enough, the superintendent commented that the mower was mowing last week when he wasn't mowing, right? There was no grass being cut with any of the larger pieces of equipment. The only time the mower got a break was when there was actually standing water, but the rest of the time that robotic mower was continuously moving. And so there are going to be areas where efficiencies can be found and enhanced quality of turf can be found through the use of technology. Of course, the initial outlay is not going to be cheap, but there are going to be advantages once you start getting used to the use of the information down the road. With that, I think we are pretty good. Dr. Gardner did give one indication. He had a couple of questions this week about herbicides for tree seedlings. And those herbicides are called MOWER. He recommends mowing them. I would say that that's for most of them fine, but I know I've had oak tree seedlings that caused me some heartburn over the last 2 springs, and the more it takes a bit of time to get it done, but for the most part that is going to be the most effective removal process. Again, we're back on the weekly process with this now going forward, and Dr. Carr has kindly shared all of the contact details. If you've got questions, the social media accounts are available there. And once again, if you are using chemicals for the first time that have been mentioned here, or you're not sure about what you're handling or how you're processing some of those chemistries, please reach out to us if you have questions or concerns, so we can put you in the right area to make sure you're doing things safely and with consideration for those poor grass blades that you're going to treat. Thank you for your time. We'll see you all next week, folks.